Looking to get some premium time to help you grind? Just one day of premium time is only 190 golden eagles, and that is not difficult to get using the GE for War Thunder app. Complete one of the simple tasks on the app and get yourself that 190 GE you need to get a whole nice weekend of grinding going. Use my code on screen for 10 extra golden eagles. Hey, top tier, it's been a while. I know we don't exactly get along these days, but maybe we could try to start over. I say top tier, but this isn't really top tier, is it? Not anymore, at least. This is the Mirage 2000, which now sits at battle rating 11.3, where top tier BR is technically 12.0, which personally I would consider 11.7 and 12.0 to be top tier vehicles. I decided I would take the Mirage out because it got a little bit of a buff recently, didn't it? If you don't know what I'm talking about, the Mirage missiles, the 530 Matra D, something like that, the radar missile of this plane has been buffed pretty considerably, mainly so in the speed of the missile. Before, it was just painfully slow. It took a very long time for it to reach its target. With the recent change, it is pretty much the same speed as the 7F. I believe it's a little bit slower, but the increase of speed, the decrease in drag, this missile is quite quick, and it has a good bit more range than what it used to. The radar on the Mirage is also pretty damn effective. All the new radar modes that have been implemented within the last month or two, the TWS head-on and stuff like that, they're pretty nice and they go well with the Super 530D. You're actually able to get some cold aspect 530D shots, and that's kind of special, I guess, because rear aspect SAR missile shots just aren't always that reliable. Sometimes they'll lose lock, sometimes they'll track all the way to the target. In my personal short experience of flying out the Mirage 2000 ever since the changes and the radar and all that fun stuff, you're able to actually hit these missile shots from behind like I do on screen here. The Magic 2s also got a little bit of a buff, as I'm pretty sure every IR missile did, where the Seekers are a lot more sensitive to front and side aspect, meaning they will be able to lock onto the target a little bit easier from further range. How useful is this? You be the judge. From side aspect, it's probably a pretty good thing, although the Magic 2 pretty much already had all of the lock range that it needed, considering the actual effective range of the missile. The Magic 2 does not have an extremely long range because, well, it's got a terrible glide coefficient or something like that. It's got horrible drag, and the second that motor burns out, the thing basically just gets stopped by the air in a couple of seconds and stops moving forward. Overall though, I mean, it's still a buff, I guess. Maybe it's more sensitive to flares because of that, but if you're talking rear aspect, if you're talking front aspect, side aspect, the flares were gonna one flare it anyways. It's not that big of a deal. The rear aspect Magic 2 though is still very, very flare resistant. It's got the same flare resistance as the old AIM-9L. You guys probably know if you've been following top tier that the AIM-9L got a flare resistance nerf, so it's a lot more susceptible to flares now. However, the Magic 2 is still nice and strong, which if you care about that, there it is, that's still a big bonus for you. Somebody can of course just cut throttle or change aspect or something like that and still flare the Magic 2 from the rear pretty easily, but not everybody knows how to do that, especially with the decreasing skill level of top tier players. The flight performance is really nice, the missiles are really nice, especially sitting at 11.3 BR. This thing has no business being this low. It could easily be 11.7, although then you start to drop off the overall effectiveness because it's limited to just 4 missiles, 2 of each. That's not a whole lot of carry potential for the Mirage 2000, and in top tier you're going to need it because these games are so heavily decided by who can get as many kills as quickly as possible, and you need a lot of missiles to be able to do that. However, I very often find myself at 10.3, 11.0 kind of games, that whole area. Not so much 12.0. Sometimes I get 11.7 games, but for the most part, you're seeing 11.7 and below, and this is great because you're not seeing a huge spam of F14s and F16s, which makes your games a lot more manageable and honestly a whole hell of a lot more fun. You saw in the last clip I got tunnel vision on an F5C, and F8E came out of nowhere. I say nowhere, I just simply wasn't looking around. I thought that F5C was honestly the last person alive on the enemy team just because I hadn't seen anybody else. And I'm not used to that at top tier. The games usually don't go that slow. They usually just happen really fast. You see everybody all at once, and that just threw me off guard. And so he sneaks up on me and he gets a fair kill. You also notice that at the beginning of this video, as well as in that last clip, the defas still are a little bit underwhelming. Yes, the fuel tank explosions do help with them very often. Or at least often enough, your defas will explode fuel tanks on the targets you shoot, and that'll actually give you some pretty damn good damage on your rounds. But if you don't get a fuel tank explosion, the defas spark very often. They just crit. They don't really get a kill that easily. You're not tearing people's wings off. Basically, the only time you're getting one burst kills with the defas is if you do manage that fuel tank explosion. And as I've showed you with multiple clips, if you don't get that explosion, they're still pretty cringe guns to use and sometimes quite a pain in the ass. So overall, I think the Mirage 2000 is pretty damn fun to play. I definitely recommend it. I hope it stays at 11.3 for a little while longer just because I've been enjoying it, but yes, it definitely could be 11.7. We'll spend the rest of the video talking about the actual gameplay because I've been just generalizing for the most part. I see a little bit of a furball, not so much a furball, but you see a little bit of a scuffle between two planes here, the F16 and the J7. I, of course, take advantage of the fact that the F16 is slow. He's very dangerous. I want to get him out as quickly as I can. He does not manage to defeat that Magic 2, and then I try to also kill the J7. He is unfortunately aware of his surroundings. He flares it away. Somebody else ends up killing him because he's just low energy from his last dogfight, which I am now going to do here, so I want to highlight that as a mistake to avoid, a common one in top tier. You see me getting slow because I'm trying to get a gunshot on that F5 and just the gunshot in general. I'm out of missiles. I only carry 4 in the Mirage 2000, and once you're out, well, you're going to have to get your gun kills. So you got to get slow. You got to kind of get up close and personal with people, but that leaves you very vulnerable. And so I have to dodge all these incoming missiles from the F4J. I heavily underestimate the danger I'm in, and I try to manage keeping my speed a little bit higher to be able to defend myself from second, third round attacks from other people or even the F4J. So considering I underestimated the danger I was in, I did not pull away from his nose as much as I needed to, and I ended up just hitting the ground while trying to dodge his bullets. Here we see me at high altitude. I see a lot of missiles in the air. They're of course Phoenixes, and how do I tell if they're flying towards me since Phoenixes don't give you RWR? Well, I just change direction a little bit. If I see that the missile is also changing direction when I do, I know that it's coming toward me. Here's one that is coming toward me, and then all of a sudden it just isn't. And then it is. So I have no idea what's going on with that Phoenix. I end up just ignoring it because I thought at the time that it really wasn't going for me. I still don't know if it was or not. Either way, the Phoenix is really not that big of a threat. However, these SAR missiles, the AIM-7F and the 530D are, so if you get these launched at you in a head-on, you can't simply outroll them. You do have to notch, and you do have to use your chaff. We're gonna end up getting a frontal aspect magic shot here from like 3 kilometers almost, but it's an F14, so I don't know if that's because of the buff or just because it's that hot. I'd reckon it's probably just because the F14's that hot. We get a kill, he doesn't seem to pay attention to us, we're at a bit of an awkward angle, which is the advantage of an all-aspect missile. You can kind of get those awkward angles in that they're really not looking for. And then I finish off the game by killing this Phoenix spamming F14, who really seems to be completely unaware I'm there until it's way too late. Average F14 moment. I'll probably try to post some more top tier soon. It looks like it could be a bit more fun with this 12.0 matchmaker, but only time will tell. Until then, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you around.